Good evening, everybody. Short term, long term. Where are you right now? What are you thinking? What are your thoughts? Where's your focus? We're going to talk about that tonight. Short term gains versus long term gains. Tonight on PatFacts. Patrick here, Pat on your back, personal fitness. Thanks everybody for tuning in, for joining me. And I wanted to talk about this because I found myself in the last about week or so, probably even more, but just really realizing it the past week or so. I've been a little too satisfied or into the short-term gains, the short-term relief, the short-term good feel from some of the things we take part in. Something like our advice, being on the social media, it's a short-term thing. We talked about it a few weeks ago, but not spending too much time on and being aware of your feed and what you take in and what you're looking at on your devices. It's a short-term fix. There's some dopamine released every time you see a like or a comment, and it makes you feel good. And in times like we've been through the last couple of years with the pandemic and isolation and social distancing, or not being able to do some of the activities that we're used to doing, we can become pretty dependent on those short-term fixes. And I just found after our talk a couple of weeks ago, I just found I was a little more aware of that and noticed that I too was kind of into that sort of routine of looking for those short-term fixes more so than looking ahead to the future and long-term and getting some of those, that good feeling that's going to last a long time. You know, they say if you want to feel more energetic, maybe you should drink more water and stay hydrated. You could have a coffee or have some caffeine, and you're gonna have a little bit of energy, even at one of those 5-hour energies, things like that. You're gonna feel good and energetic for a bit, but when you crash, you're not gonna feel very good, probably worse than you did before you took it. Hey, Nat, welcome. And that's kind of the same thing with this. You'll feel good when you're scrolling, and again, see the likes or the comments or the hearts or the shares, whatever it is, but then it goes away. It only lasts for a little bit as that kind of dopamine is in our system making us feel good. And then we need some more, and then a little bit more. And it becomes addictive. It really does. And you don't even realize it. So I want us to really focus on, and what I'm trying to focus on now, after speaking with my coaches, is more long-term forward thinking. Rather than dwelling in the now or dwelling in the past. Remember, if you're here with me, the very first episode back in March of 2020, we said, don't dwell, be alert and aware, but no dwelling. But if you're spending too much time in the rearview mirror, then that's when you kind of need those little fixes. Maybe you need those escapes. Maybe you need that brief moment to feel extra good or to cheer yourself up. And that's when we can turn to things like our devices, like social media, maybe food, maybe it's, for some people, exercise can become addictive because you get that good feeling from it. We have to make sure we watch that fine line. For some, it's food. For some, it's some of the content you're taking in. You want to be very careful and very aware. So we talk about being aware here, being mindful. We talked about that a few weeks ago. I want you to be mindful of the content and the habits that you're taking part in. And I don't want to be judgy and say, don't do this and don't go on this and don't go on your phone or don't go on social media. You're going to do what you're going to do. I want you to enjoy your life. And sometimes we do need that little bit of an escape to get away from things. But just be aware of what method you're choosing to use to have that little bit of an escape. And like we talked about before, have a strategy, have a plan. I'm going to watch one show every night at this time to have a little bit of a break and really try to stick with that. It's very hard because everything we use now, it just automatically loads to the next show, next episode, next clip, whatever. But try to be very honest with yourself and very true to what it is you set out as sort of a schedule and a routine to yourself. You want to keep your word to yourself because that builds up confidence. If you say, I'm just going to watch one show and you watch 6 shows, then you're not really keeping your promise to yourself. You're not being truthful to yourself. And then that kind of gets us into that habit of not keeping our word and kind of giving ourselves these empty promises of, I'm going to do this, and then I don't do it. And that negative snowball builds, that negative energy that we talked about, that then keeps us from doing what it is we should be doing. So we talk about fourth quarter, we talk about month end, which is coming up soon. We typically check in at those times and do a little review, a little evaluation. And that's what I want you to do now. Again, if you go back a couple of weeks, we did talk about some of the scheduling and what we can do and our mental health. We talked a little bit about this in our mental health chat. You can go back and watch that. It's on all platforms that I stream to. But I want you to do a bit of an audit. What are the things you're doing to spend your time? What are the habits you have? What are the maybe not really negative habits, but they could lead to negative connotations, just like anything, if they're done too much. Having a little bit of wine or a drink now and then typically isn't a bad thing, but if you overdo it, it is. Having a treat or a little snack once in a while isn't a bad thing, but if you overdo it, that's when the problem is. Even on good things sometimes, if we overdo it, that can lead to some problems. So I really want you to take some time tonight into this evening, or whenever you're watching this, take a little bit of time, just even 30 minutes or so at the most, and just think about the things you're doing. How are you spending your time? And what are the things that are you doing that are short-term kind of benefits, short-term gains, short-term relief, where you feel good, you're happy, you smile, you escape a bit, but then notice how you feel after. Sure, maybe I go on and see that a couple of you guys like this post or the video after when I post a replay, and I feel good. Oh, great. People are watching it. People are liking it after the fact. But then it goes away, and then I look for that next hit. There's people that work for some of these social media companies, or most of them. We talked about this on the Mental Health Week as well. Their job is to get you to stay on their platform. They don't want you to go from Facebook to Twitter to YouTube to whatever. They want you on their platform. That's why all the platforms copy each other or borrow ideas, right? Facebook has the Facebook. They have Facebook Watch. They're adding stories. They're adding reels. They want you to stay in that platform as much as you can. YouTube has shorts, they call them, which are their stories or their reels. Instagram, same thing. Snapchat became big, so everyone's adding that element to their platform so people won't go platform to platform. There's people there that are hired there to keep you there as long as you can, because you get hooked on that little hit of dopamine, of that yay, that kind of goes in your system, to be very scientific, when you see that like, that comment, that share, whatever the case is. So be aware of what it is you're doing. What are you partaking in? What are you watching? What are you listening to? How are you interacting with people that you know and maybe people that you meet? A lot of this, we've met each other, made a lot of friends here within this community, but there's some communities out there that can cause a bit of trouble as well. Be aware of those. And be aware enough that you make good choices. We can be aware and know that we probably shouldn't be doing X, but sometimes we do it anyway because of whatever circumstances going on. And again, no judgment here. Nobody's perfect. We've all had our moments. But what I want you to try to be very aware and cognizant of is, should I be doing this? What are possible consequences to doing this? And is it worth the risk? And then what could I be doing instead of this to feel good about myself, to escape a little bit, maybe to laugh, to smile? But what can I do that would have a longer effect, more of a long-term benefit for me? So as I mentioned, for me, I'm digging in and I'm really focusing forward. Christmas is coming up in a month. Hard to believe. So I want to get out my Slope Fit program, a ski conditioning program, in the next little bit. I want my online coaching and my on-demand workout platforms out. So people looking for Christmas gifts and getting set up for the new year can start now, get a jump on things. They can buy a membership for their loved one or for themselves to treat themselves, to make 2022 a great year. or they can start now on that health and wellness journey so they're not trying to overwhelm themselves January 1st. So I'm really working with my coaches and my mentors at looking forward at where do I want to go. I've taken big steps the last 2 years in this platform and done some different things and had some great opportunities. I don't want to lose those opportunities, and I want to continue to expand and grow. So my solution is to look forward. What's next? What's on the horizon? What's the goal for 2022? And what can I do to start working towards that? And as I focus on that goal, we've talked about this before with everyone here, as we focus toward that goal and start checking off those kind of tasks that need to be done to help us get that much closer to our goal each day, we build momentum, we build our positivity pandemic. We feel good about ourselves. We have a sense of accomplishment. Confidence builds competence, builds confidence. We get that loop going, and that gives us more energy and more inspiration to keep going. So we don't need maybe to scroll on social media or watch movies, certain movies or videos, or get into chats with random people. We can be a little more structured with what we do, and then be very purposeful when we're doing some of those other things. If we're on social media, if we're watching something online, again, be strategic and be purposeful with your timing, with your schedule. Because we need breaks. We can't just work all the time. And again, with things being as heavy as they are with the pandemic and just in the world with all the social issues going on right now, and just trying to juggle whatever the situation is around you. Are we open? Are we closed? Are we going to close again? Are we restricted? Can we meet in groups? Can we not? Everywhere is different. So we need to be able to react to what's going on. So sometimes we need that break. And I hope this is a little bit of a break for you on kind of an educational, personal development side. But hopefully you can kind of shut most things off for a little bit, or at least come at them with a new perspective. And then again, get back to it once you're done. Get into that nighttime routine, or get into the rest of your day whenever you're watching this on replay, and then continue to move forward. So I really encourage you to look at what could be some long-term goals for you. I know some of you have started, one of you started painting when the pandemic hit, and I've painted hundreds and hundreds of pictures and taken courses, and I'm doing all kinds of different things now, using different surfaces and techniques. Some of you get into fitness. Some of us have gotten back into music, whether it's listening to music, enjoying music, playing instruments, writing music. There's some of us doing different things in music. Some of us have just taken new hobbies. Some of us have got into purging and getting rid of the things we didn't need because we realized we didn't really need all the stuff we had. But again, I want you to look at the things you're doing that kind of make you feel good, or maybe gonna help you laugh and smile a bit, but they're short term. Once you stop them, once you put the device away, once you hang up the phone with that chat line, when you shut off the videos you're watching, how do you feel? How long does the happiness, the escape last? And be aware of those feelings too. And notice how you feel after the fact. Do you feel the same? Do you feel worse? Do you feel better and then it goes down? And again, ideally, we want to stay feeling good most of the time. We'll have dips in the road and where we feel really good and some where we feel a little worse. It's going to happen. But we want to try to spend the most time feeling really good as best we can. Just like we try to eat throughout the day so we don't spike through that energy system, right? We don't chug a coffee and work and then crash. We want to have it sort of a steady kind of blood sugar level so we can perform through the day. Same thing mentally. We want to have that sort of good level of hormones and emotions and intensity going through us, that high optimal level of performance, so that we can get the results that we want. We can have the energy to last us throughout the day. So that when after work comes, we can do things with our friends or our family, or maybe something for ourselves. So some of this I know could be a little personal. If you don't want to share, I understand, but I'd love to hear from you, at least that you've done the audit. So take some time after watching this, whether tonight, if you're watching live, or again on another day, if it's in the afternoon, take a few moments and just think of those things and be aware of what it is you're spending your time on. Notice how you feel during but almost more importantly, after. And then try to think of some long-term things. Maybe set some goal. Hey, Gretchen, welcome. Maybe set some long-term goals that'll help you have something to focus on. We have something to focus on that we'd love to do, that we're excited about. Chances are we'll spend more time doing that because we'll get those happy feelings. We'll get those feelings of enthusiasm and being pleased with ourselves and being happy. So then we're more likely to keep going with that, just like a lot of us keep going with this because we can scroll and get those feelings. But once we stop, it's not there. So that long-term kind of goal setting can help you work towards that. And that's what I'm doing now. I'm setting 2022 goals. We've talked about it earlier this month with our fourth quarter and goals, and I'm really dialing those in and getting set up on what the whole year is going to be for me. Again, my word for the year was action. It's going to be a year of action for me. This year was growth. Next year it's action. I'm putting steps in place, and I'm starting now. I'm not waiting until 2022 to start it. I'm going to have momentum going into 2022 with action and putting things into play to help inspire more people and help more people be operationally fit, like yourselves that tune in here every Wednesday at 6. So look at some goals. What could you do in 2022? Again, start now thinking about it. Don't resolve to do something and start January 1st. Think about what you want 2022 to be. Some of you were here the night we picked our theme words and had some of your own. Think back to that. I hope you wrote it down somewhere. If not, go back to the replay, find it. If you don't remember it, write it down somewhere, put it up. Put it on your Post-it note on the wall so you can see it. Make that something that goes off on your phone 2 or 3 times a day so you see that word and it reminds you. Oh yeah, intensity, discipline, whatever it is, whatever your theme word or phrase would be for 2022. What you want 2022 to be. And then that can help you start to put those plans in place. What aligns with my theme word? My theme word is actions. What aligns with that? Getting my programs in place, getting them out to the public, promoting them, getting people signed up for them to help people be operationally fit. So then what can I do to go through those steps? And if we have those long-term goals and we have steps in place, we talked about reverse engineering in the past. Pick your goal, pick a date, and reverse engineer from that end date. And what can I do today to start that, to get myself going, to build that energy, to build that momentum toward the goal? So then again, I feel good about myself. You've heard me talk before about the example of making your bed in the morning. Why it's so important, it's a sense of accomplishment. If nothing else that day, you can say, you know what? I got up and first thing I did was I made my bed. Good job, me. Pat on your back. Shameless plug. That's a sense of accomplishment. It's not just that your room is neat and tidy because your bed's made a certain way. That's part of it. But it's accomplishment. That gets the ball rolling. You want to do some more things because you feel good. You get that same kind of release of, oh, I did something. Good job, me. That dopamine, those hormones are released. You feel good about yourself. But again, it's something internal that you did and you controlled so it lasts a little bit longer. And that can lead to the next thing, sitting down with your notepad, your pen and paper, and getting to work on a task. And as you get more of those tasks done, that builds more of that feeling of happiness and content and being pleased with yourself. So we're here every week. We're thinking of action words. We're planning our fourth quarter. We're planning into 2022. And again, it's time to put some of this into action. What are we going to do? And how are we going to spend 2022 and make 2022 a good year? It's not just going to happen to be a better year. You have to make it a better year. You can choose to make it a better year. So it's November 24th at the time of this recording. Let's dial in. You get just over a month left in 2021. Now's the time to get yourself going. Now's the time to work on these goals and set them and put plans in place if you haven't already. And if you've been with me for a couple of years and heard me mention this before and have plans in place, let's dust those plans off and let's take out that goal and put in the new goal. And that system should take you to that place. Now, again, we might have to tweak and adjust a little bit, but isn't it less intense, less energy, less time consuming to tweak a plan than to have to create a whole plan all over from scratch? If you don't have a plan, yes, it's going to take some work, but the rewards are going to be 10 times what they will if you just try to wing it and go and hope that it'll be a great year for you. So I really hope you'll do that. Again, if you don't want to share maybe some of your habits you're taking part in, I understand if it's personal things. But I would like to hear from you not if, but when you go through this audit. So again, one more time, look at the things you're doing to spend your time, those little things that just give you that kind of quick fix to help you feel good, help you laugh, maybe forget about things for a little bit. And just notice how you feel during and how you feel after. And try to replace some of those short-term things with more long-term purposeful goals to build good internal positive energy. And then be very strategic in the goals, in the activities that you leave or that you still want to do. Make sure that you're sticking to your one show limit on Netflix or your 20-minute time limit on social media. Set up some parameters, try them. You'll have to tweak them. You have to adjust them. Times of day can make a big difference. My phone has a program now called Focus. And Gretchen will know from Todd and Trina, WTF, what the focus? And when I'm doing work or I'm working out or having personal time, I can set up my phone to be in focus mode so that I don't get interrupted by notifications and alerts and pings, and I won't see the home screen with social media on it. It'll show me the other home screen when I unlock my phone if I need something to do. Look at some of those routines. Look at some of those options to help make the most of it. At night, my phone goes into nighttime mode at 10 or 11 o'clock. Again, all those apps are away. I have to go through more steps to get into the app. Look at some of those and see if they work for you. Maybe that helps you have more time to focus. We've talked about our focus here before, what we can do. Maybe that helps you dial in your focus so you get more productivity. You do more with less time because you're very focused and in the moment. Then you don't feel guilty maybe watching a show later on. Or you stick to that schedule knowing that, you know what, I had a really good day today. I'm going to watch my one show and get to sleep with my nighttime routine so I can get up tomorrow and have another good day. But I have more time now to maybe prep and do things and spend time with loved ones because I was so focused, because I wasn't distracted by all the alerts and notifications and things going on. So again, it's going to take work. It's going to take a bit of time. But I really think it's important for all of us to do it. Again, I'm going through this journey myself. I've done the audit. I know the areas, and now I'm looking at different solutions and ways to try to avoid some of those quick fixes, those quick hits that I was kind of using and having as sort of a pick-me-up. And sometimes an avoidance of the big projects because I was maybe scared or unsure where to go or wanted things to be just right. So I would just maybe turn to this or turn to some other little habit and kind of distract myself or procrastinate. Let's really do that on it. Be honest with yourself. We're here to get better, right? We'll say ascend till the end, get better every day. Be honest with yourself. And if you're not sure, maybe talk with a coach where you can evaluate and journal, maybe keep a log of what you do every day. Social media, emails, content you're watching, food you're taking in, maybe keep a detailed log for a few days. And then you can look and see what it is you're doing if you're not sure. But I really think we can focus and finish this year strong and head into 2022 on the right foot and leave all those quick fix demons behind us that we're all sort of maybe casting and dealing with right now. And again, myself included. So focusing on 2022, again, I've got a Slope Fit coming, ski conditioning program, online coaching, on-demand workouts, a few different options for people to join in and take part and be operationally fit. So again, stay tuned for those because that's my action. That's what's coming out very soon. Plans are in place. So stay tuned for those. We're just going to take a second here. I want to go through the comments because there's some, I know some interaction here and some people commenting in. Gretchen mentioned, I have thought about next year. Haven't made any definite plans yet. And that's fine, Gretchen. There's still some time. Again, we just tried to recommend November is a good time. October, November is the time to get started, at least what you have. You've been thinking about it. And then trying to put some things in place so that you can go through the holidays in December. I know you're in the US, so you've got Thanksgiving coming up this weekend. well, tomorrow actually. So happy early Thanksgiving to our U.S. friends. So the Thanksgiving into Christmas, we want to have a bit of a plan set up so that we can carry through the holidays and try to stay on our plan and our routine as best we can. So that again, when January 1st hits, we're not starting from scratch. We're not trying to do everything at the same time. We've got a few things maybe checked off or at least in progress. And then when January 1st hits, we can really keep that momentum going and build on to that great year. Gretchen's good advice. Thank you. Appreciate that, Gretchen. Thanks for being here. Good to see you back. Gretchen also says, I'm dialing in my nutrition and exercise to finish this year strong and start next year strong. I love it, Gretchen. You've done a great job over the last couple of years, ever since the Get Your Mind Right book came out. We've connected in Todd's launch group for that. And it's been great to see your transformation and how you've made it just a part of your life. And you've even dealt with personal loss and issues and sickness and different things going on in your life, and you've stayed true to your plan, and you've modified where you had to and changed, taken a day off when you need to, but come back the next day strong. So I'm really proud of you, Gretchen, and all you've done through this pandemic and through this time, and for all of you have made big strides. I'm proud of all of you for what you've done and become during this pandemic. Gretchen says, at 9:30, I turned the sound off and put it in the kitchen. So talking about her phone for the night. Yeah, a lot of people will do that. They'll put it in an opposite room. They'll put it downstairs. They'll put it in the charging station in a drawer and shut it off. There's also some studies that show even if it's on, some people find the signals from it as it sends, receives, even though if it's sitting there, that can affect our sleep patterns as well and our good quality of sleep. So yeah, that's great, Gretchen, that you do that. Again, I'm using the nighttime kind of feature where at a certain time, everything kind of shuts down. Then it stays off for the evening unless I kind of override it. So it gives me that extra little filter of, do I really need to go on Facebook and check this thing because I have to go over this? And no, I can wait till tomorrow. So it gives you sort of that, almost that like built-in conscience for you. Hey, Bonnie, good to see you. We'll catch you on the replay for sure. Rich says, I need to get more organized and living life as it comes. Yeah, and that's for all of us. Just finding that routine, finding that that system for us. And again, once we get a system, then we can kind of take it from this goal and plug it into this goal and then to this goal. We've got a system in place, just like a business or a corporation. They have systems, they have policies. When you go to Disneyland, everything is in a system. It's a policy. All the employees know what to do. So you have a wonderful experience when you're there, right? The happiest place on earth. We want to have that in our life. We want to have systems and plans and policies and procedures in place so we know how to handle certain situations. And we have experience to draw on to take us to that next goal, to take us into that next step that we need to. So definitely getting organized is part of it. And that's what a lot of people kind of fall off the wagon, so to speak, is that there's a lot of upfront work. It takes a lot of time to be organized, to find systems that work for you, to try things and try other things and see what works, and maybe take something I suggest and something, say, our pal Blake suggests, something Brendan Burchard suggests and Todd Durkin suggests and anyone else you watch and follow, and then make it and mold it into your own. I don't want you to just follow everything I say. It'd be nice if you followed most of it, but I want you to take what I say as advice, which it is. But then again, listen to the other people in your life, the other mentors and coaches and leaders and experts that you follow, and then make it your own. When I go to a conference, that's what I do. I listen to all these different lecturers, presenters, and I think, how could I maybe take some of this and make it my own? I can mold it into my own message. And that's what we should do here. You got to find what works best for you. And that's going to take time. It's going to take work. So doing things like this audit, it's a bit of upfront work. But if you can identify some of those distractions and those maybe short-term things that are making things a little heavier for you right now, then you can kind of avoid them or minimize them and the impact of them and replace them with new, better habits down the road. So kind of short-term pain, long-term gain, I think gain is the expression. Doing some work now, getting into it, being honest with yourself can set you up for a lot of success down the road. And Natty says, I'm in the brainstorming stage for 2022. Awesome. Well, it's better than nothing, Natty. We'll take it. I think you were already there a few weeks ago, but it's okay. We'll let you go. Again, like we said with Gretchen, when she mentioned just thinking about it, that's something. But sometimes that brainstorming can make a big difference. Try to put it on paper, get those things out. What do I want to do? Again, hearing, go back and hear the theme episode of PatFacts where we discussed theme words, and 3 or 4 people put their theme word into the chat. Go back and see that word if you forget it. Again, mine was action. This year was growth, and I feel like I went through that growth quite a bit with some of the courses I took and some of the things I've done online. Now I want to put more things into action, because I have lots of things up here. I just need to get them out and get them to you. So same thing, brainstorm, but put it on paper, see it. And then sometimes when you see it and write it out, you think, no, this one doesn't work, but this one does. I'm going to go this way. And then you can kind of break it down and it just ties right into that, Natty. Brain can't focus. There are too many things I want to do. For sure, I'm the same way. I have 14 different things I want to do as an online fitness coach and master trainer and entrepreneur and brand ambassador. So we got to pick them. And I went through the other night. Let's see if I can find my book here. And I just did a brain dump. Every so often I'll do a brain dump because there's so many things going on up here. And I was doing some work with my coach. And this is sort of my brain dump, my outline of where I want my business to go in the next few years, what I want to do, different steps I want to do. What do I want to be known as? A successful online wellness coach and master trainer. I want to specialize in helping others become operationally fit, which is fit to fight the daily battles life hands them. So that includes physical, mental, spiritual wellness, all encompassing, not just fitness like I used to be. So again, that whole page, it's hard to see with the light here, but that was all notes taken and from a couple of questions that I answered and put those down. I put it on paper because same thing. And I have another book that's, do I have it here? I don't have it here. Oh, maybe I do. This is my Pat on Your Back. It's my Pat on Your Back fitness and virtual fitness kind of notes, and where I was taking things and what I want to use and equipment I want to incorporate and business ideas go through there too. So we need those brain dumps. So brainstorming, like you said, Andy, is great, but let's brainstorm on paper, because we brainstorm up here and then all these thoughts get swirled around and we kind of overwhelm ourselves. And again, I'm just as guilty of that as anybody. Ask my coaches and they'll verify. So put things down on paper, and sometimes if nothing else, it'll get it out of here so you can unwind and relax a little bit. But maybe you'll see those things and think, you know what, hiking up north in the middle of winter, it's a cool adventure, but it's probably not a good thing to do right now. Maybe I'll cross that out for now. Maybe I'll think of it another time. Maybe I'll come back to it. And it can also help you put things into priority. And again, something I'm trying to work on as well. But maybe when you put all these things down and brain dump, maybe there'll be a flow to them. Maybe there'll be an order. When I put my ideas down, I could see that the virtual coaching would be here, and the Patreon, the on-demand would be here, but they could kind of interact a little bit. And the equipment sales that I can do, they could interact with the coaching program. I could give clients some of the deals that I get being affiliated with some of these companies. So I can pass the benefit on. So again, they have resources. And when I know what resources they have at home for equipment, then I can really coach them and dive in with them, because I know if I say, grab your equalizers or grab some bands or whatever, I know they've got them because they received them when they sign up for my program. So now I can really give a more personalized experience. And a lot of that came from brain dumping and thinking, well, I want to do this and this and this and this. How's it all going to work? And is there a flow to it? And I've spoken to my coaches and said how I didn't force it, but I was kind of making it flow when the pandemic first started, and I did the online classes and different things. And then when I took a step back and got better at the brain dumping and kind of visiting what it was I wanted to do, and I got back to my original goal, which is the fitness coaching, the classes sort of came because I was growing my brand and there was some interest. But when I got back to the coaching and really looked at things, I could see such a strong connection. I have on-demand workouts. I have online fitness coaching where it's remote coaching through an app. So you don't have to be together all the time. So I can reach so many more people at one time than I can with in-person or even just face-to-face online training. We can work through different things that way. And I noticed that I can, with Liebert Fitness, I can do courses online for them, and in-person hopefully is coming soon. But now I'm doing more online stuff for all those components and the online sales of the equipment. It all flows together so nicely now, and the equipment helps the classes, and the classes help the equipment, and the master training kind of brings things together, and the brand ambassadors with my friends at Carnazin and East Coast Lifestyle, it all ties in really nicely together. It's forming a really good system and mold, and it feels good because I wrote it down and I looked at it and I tweaked things a little bit. It's not all the way there, but I've tweaked it enough because I've seen it on paper and thought, you know what, this part doesn't make sense. But if I did it this way, that would work a little more. And yeah, Natty, the brain dumping is huge. It's a tool that I'm trying to be more consistent with. I know some clients that I'll even suggest, and I've talked about it before, have a notepad by your bed. If you're having those nights where your brain is just racing, get it out, write everything down, and then it's out of here, because you know now that it's on paper. You don't have to remember it. It's on paper. So when you get up the next day, you can look at it and see what it is you were thinking of. So I have some clients that just do that as a part of their NDP, their next day prep. They get their journal out, like Gretchen says, she wants to be better at writing in her journal. So they get their journal out, they brain dump. Maybe that's their journal entry. Maybe it's not. Today I went for a walk and had a nice day and a dinner. Maybe it's just, I want to do this and I want to start this program and learn this hobby. I want to get better at writing in my journal. Maybe that's the brain dump. And then all those things that are stressing us out are on paper, so our brain can go, oh, I don't have to think about them as much, remember them, because tomorrow I can look at them on paper and be reminded of them. And that lets things settle down. Then we get that good night's sleep. Then we wake up and feel better, and we have a nice productive day, and that starts that momentum building and growing. So the brain dumps are huge. It's a big something one of my coaches mentioned to me, and I've started, and I don't do them regularly. I like to be more a little more consistent with them. But when I have done them, I have felt a lot better, and I just feel more motivated and inspired to put some pen to paper and get some action going, because you kind of see where you're going. We talked about kind of how a GPS, if you put the coordinates in your phone, your Apple Maps, your GPS, then it shows you the destination. It shows you it shows you the route to take to get to that destination. And sometimes brain dumping and leading into goal setting, that creates the destination. Then you can reverse engineer and put in your coordinates, plot your route. And that gives you a path to follow. That gives you a vision. I can see my goal up ahead because I've got it out of here. I've got it on paper. I can organize my thoughts. I can organize my action steps better because it's down on paper. I'm not trying to do everything up here, plus think of what groceries I need to get and what time do I need to go to the meeting, and am I supposed to be online at 6, and where are my kids? What are they doing? Did I feed my cat today? All these things we have going on in our head, plus trying to plan and organize and de-stress ourselves. We have a lot on the go. We think we're great at multitasking, but any kind of high performance thing you read or listen to says, no, we're not. That's why focus is so important. So that brain dump, it's for sure. Stream of consciousness journaling, for sure. You just get it out of your head. Anything that's in there, just put it down. Just write until everything is out of your head. All the thoughts. Then again, you don't have to think of them. Remember them because they're on paper. So it lets the brain settle down and think, okay, it's on paper. We can look at it tomorrow. Let's bring it down. Or let's focus on this budget we have to work on because we got all this other stuff out of our brain right now. We're going to come back to that later. So we can do that, and it helps us again perform better, rest better, or all of the above to help us have a great quality of life. So try it. Try a brain dump. Maybe you brain dump your habits. Just get a little piece of paper and just brain dump. What is it that I do? How do I spend my time? How do I escape? And then maybe go back and revisit them on the paper. Is this a quick fix? Is this a long-term thing? How can I modify this? How can I keep this? I kind of like this, but I'm doing it too much. So how can I scale back? How can I control it and structure it more? It gives you a better framework, and you come at it from a better state mentally to focus on it and not feel overwhelmed or anxious or even negative about it. We get into a lot of negative self-talk sometimes when we get into this. So again, it's a great way to approach it. So try that brain dump. So look at the activities you're doing. Identify some that you can maybe at least minimize or scale back a little bit because maybe they're not good for you right now. What are some good alternatives? How can I keep some of them, but maybe be a little healthier for me? Again, thinking of it nutritionally. How can I maybe I can have a treat every Friday. I can have a treat day instead of having, Kimmy's not here, so I'll say having cheesecake every single day. Maybe I'll just have it on Fridays. I'll get a little one and have a slice, or I'll go to my favorite place and just buy one slice and then go home and eat it. Maybe instead of being on social media all day, all the time, I'll book a time, 20 minutes at 3 p.m. I can get on, I'll check some things, I'll look, and then I'll go from there. One of the things I'm doing content-wise is trying to use different programs to create my content. So I use StreamYard to broadcast, so I'm not going through and being distracted by Facebook right now. I want to deal with my posts. There's creators and different things you can use to help you schedule your posts and at least create them so you're not seeing your feed, you don't get distracted. So again, look around, see what options are out there, and find a plan that works best for you and try it. If it doesn't work, restructure, tweak it, adjust as you need to. Awesome. Thanks, Gretchen. Thanks for being here. Have a great night as well. Good to see you again. Haven't seen you on in a while. Great to have you here. Hopefully we'll see you next week as well. That's it for tonight, everyone. Thanks so much for being here. Again, let's be aware, really aware and in tune with ourselves and what it is we're doing, and not just aware on the surface, but a really deep awareness of what it is we're doing, how it's affecting us. And let's try to make really good choices. That 80-20 rule, 80% of the time, let's do what's best for us so we can enjoy ourselves that 20% of the time. Remember, feel free to please share this with those that maybe need to hear it or would benefit from taking part in it, listening, and interacting with us. Even if you're here on the replay, please comment, leave your comments, leave your suggestions, leave your questions, leave your habits if you want to, or that you've done them. Again, we see the comments after the fact as well, and go back and answer any questions and take part. So please share it out on your platforms as you have access to it. I really appreciate the community, appreciate the support. Remember, everyone, always make yourself the priority that you deserve to be by striving to be operationally fit. Have a great night, everybody.